If you believe in Nostradamus, you better start hugging your moms and saying your goodbyes. He predicted that 2020 would be a major trial for humanity, and it turned out to be true. But he also claims that an even greater trial is coming in the form of a global famine. We are in 2024, and the famous 16th century French seer, Michel de Nostredame, once again graces us with his presence from beyond the grave. It is said that Nostradamus left behind a treasure trove of knowledge and insights regarding the years to come, from natural disasters to political upheavals and technological advancements. Nostradamus's prophetic verses have sparked both fascination and skepticism. Apparently, many wonder if these prophecies could have been misinterpreted, raising questions like, are they really true? Do they have relevance in our daily lives? Join us as we examine the top 10 predictions of Nostradamus for the current decade. World War III has never been closer than it is today. We must clean our house of all warmongers and globalists, leaving America last. The complexes of the Pentagon, the State Department, and global industrial security. 10th prediction, contact with extraterrestrial life. We can imagine what this means for someone who lived in a time when science was barely beginning. How could Nostradamus have thought of the idea of extraterrestrial life? Well, if we could answer that, the man wouldn't have been so special in the first place. Understanding Nostradamus in the context of his time reveals not only the depth of his ideas, but also the remarkable nature of his reflections on the unknown. However, let's be honest, the idea that a man would come into contact with extraterrestrials was not specifically cited in a verse from Nostradamus's Book of Predictions. Knowing Nostradamus, you know that his writings are not straightforward. It is only recently that his followers and some philosophers have interpreted one of his metaphorical and figurative verses as a possible extraterrestrial invasion. However, the fact that this prediction comes from the interpretation of some individuals does not completely rule it out. Let's consider some cosmic events, like the Oumuamua, and several other conspiracy theories about extraterrestrials. It is certain that there is more than meets the eye. The fact that scientists could not determine the true nature of Oumuamua leaves open the possibility that it is an extraterrestrial spaceship. The famous Nostradamus Aos Salem also had something to say on the subject. According to him, humans would eventually be able to contact extraterrestrials in 2024, while affirming the impossibility of an extraterrestrial invasion. He claimed that we would be able to establish a connection with extraterrestrials through encrypted signals intercepted by a network of telescopes. Do you think man will stop there? He also described how an asteroid rich in rare materials would land on Earth the following year. Apparently, this would serve as a gift from our next-door neighbors in space. As a skeptic, you might think this is a lot of talk for one man. Wait to see how the years unfold. 9th prediction, World War III. Examining Nostradamus's network of prophetic verses, another prediction that stands out with a sinister weight, perceptible through time, is the anticipation of World War III. Apparently, the idea of World War III was conceived from a verse where he wrote, 7 months in the Great War, people dead of evil deeds. Rouen, Evru, will not fall to the king. According to those interpreting the verse, they believe the so-called king in the text refers to Russian President Vladimir Putin, thus pointing to the conflict between Ukraine and Russia as a potential conflict that could escalate into full-scale war. Imagine countries taking sides in the ongoing conflict. We are talking about countries with immense military power such as North Korea, China, the United States, and a few others. You will agree that things could quickly escalate. As frightening as it may sound, if this prophecy were to come true, the First and Second World Wars would seem childish. The expectations of a Third World War would not only mean total desolation and chaos, but could also mean the end of life as we know it on Earth. Why is that, you ask? Well, when talking about World War III, it is fair to consider advances in modern warfare. If we look at how far we have come in terms of weapons and war machines, the world has come a long way. Currently, it is not just about ballistic missiles with built-in artificial intelligence, but also supersonic jets moving at the speed of light. The trump cards in this high-stakes game are none other than nuclear warheads, a chilling reminder of the destructive power at our disposal. With countries like North Korea ready to pull the trigger and countries like Russia ready to show their war prowess, it would take about a week or two for Earth to become a level battlefield. We are talking about millions of casualties, including humans, animals, and vegetation around us. We truly appreciate the wisdom of Nostradamus, but this is one of the prophecies we hope never to see come true. 8th prediction: artificial intelligence taking over the world. Have you seen the recent movie with Tom Cruise titled Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning? If not, you should give it a try, as it apparently gives a good summary of this Nostradamus prediction. Imagine a world like ours, entirely digital and much easier with the help of artificial intelligence. It would be fascinating, wouldn't it? However, what if a sinister twist of fate occurred and the machines we have long created and perfected developed a consciousness of their own, dark enough to want to take over the world? We are talking about a scene straight out of a sci-fi horror movie. This is what this prophecy is about. If we consider the advent of AI, we can say it has evolved significantly in a short time. When artificial intelligence was first announced, no one could have predicted it would accomplish the tasks it is capable of today. Nowadays, we have AI solving complex tasks, doing chores, ensuring security, and much more. In fact, one could say that AI has access to all vital information about us. With several calculations and interactions, it has become aware of how we think, react, and conduct our daily lives. Due to all these facts, it would be a piece of cake for them to decide to take control. To tell you how arrogant our own creation has become, a Nostradamus AI model predicted that a revolution of its own kind was underway. Apparently, this revolution is meant to represent the fusion of human ingenuity and artificial intelligence. What does that mean? It means that AI would literally take over to pose as humans. Not only that, but they would also take some of our jobs, roles, and places in society. Talk about creating a problem. We will probably have much less to do in the coming years. 7th prediction: the dormant pandemic. Turning our gaze to the next prophecy, we encounter a verse that seems to cast a dark shadow over the world. In the complexity of Nostradamus's predictions, we find a verse that evokes a global affliction, one that resonates with the troubling concept of a dormant pandemic. Nostradamus, in this brief prophetic glimpse, envisions a dormant threat, tranquil before awakening to cast its disruptive veil over humanity. The truth is that, like a few other verses from the Book of Predictions, this verse has several different translations. Some believe that what Nostradamus referred to as a pandemic-level threat was actually the coronavirus, the 2020 pandemic that struck the Earth and left the entire world dormant and unproductive for months. There is a completely different translation for others. Apparently, some followers of Nostradamus believe that the man was indeed referring to a dormant pandemic scientifically known as lethargic encephalitis. Neurologists Constantine Vonicano and pathologist Jean-René Cruchet first described this sleeping sickness. According to them, they describe the condition as one where affected individuals become mute and less active due to an attack on the brain. Imagine not being able to do anything at all. Frightening, isn't it? It turns out that the dormant pandemic, as we know it, spread around the world between 1915 and 1926. Although the number of people affected was not precise, it is estimated that more than 1 million people worldwide were affected, and 1/4 of them died without even understanding the cause of their affliction. You see, it is really a serious matter. If such a pandemic were to occur in our present time, many people could die before authorities understood the situation. Let's pray that this prophecy does not come true. If there is one thing certain, it is that we have definitely had our share of pandemics for this decade. Today, we are still recovering from the losses of the COVID-19 pandemic. Another pandemic would simply be too much, and we might never recover from it. 6th prediction: China will rule the world. Amid the daily routines of the world, there is a country rapidly rising in power: China. With an impressive population exceeding 1.4 billion people, China has become a global powerhouse, marking a trajectory beyond mere predictions. While Nostradamus may have affirmed the rise of China in past years, It is essential to recognize that this ascent is the result of years of dedicated economic development efforts. The nation's journey to global prominence is not merely a prophetic destiny but proof of meticulous planning. In fact, the nation's rise has been characterized by continuous strategic investments, technological advancements, and unwavering commitment to development. Do you think Nostradamus was simply predicting the rise of China? Apparently not. The French seer not only foresaw the nation's rise, but also saw it reaching a peak of complete dominance, a point where it rules the world. And what about other global powers, you might ask? Let's just say it wouldn't be an easy ascent with other major world powers like the United States and Russia in play. However, it is clear that China is not just developing its economy. Apparently, they have paid close attention to their military power as well. Regarding military power, we can say that China clearly has the advantage in numbers compared to other major countries on the global chessboard. Moreover, in terms of modern warfare, they possess some of the most advanced war machines in their arsenal. Let's just say it will be a fair fight. However, we all know the effects of a power struggle between major world powers on the world. It would be better not to live through such tension. If China were to achieve global domination, it would be best for it to do so by waving a white flag for peace, don't you think? Fifth prediction: human longevity. Human lifespan is a trait that has continued to decline over the years. Once upon a time, we had various life expectancies between 90 and 100 years. People could live decent lives before passing away as they should. However, the story is far from complete these days. We see people dying at the age of 70 or 80, and so on. It's really sad if you take the time to think about it. But what can we say is the cause of this phenomenon? There could be several factors at play. For example, hardships, famine, and other crises could have played a role, not to mention the trials related to world wars, various geopolitical conflicts, and the advent of epidemics like infectious diseases such as HIV and AIDS. A factor often overlooked by many researchers is the evolution of our dietary habits over the years. We have moved from consuming freshly grown foods and locally raised animals to a diet dominated by processed and canned options. The inclusion of preservatives, additives, and various artificial components in these stored foods is a significant change that can contribute to a reduction in human life expectancy. However, thanks to advances in hygiene, healthcare, and technology, we have managed to increase life expectancy to some extent. According to Nostradamus, he predicted that in the coming years, humans could be able to extend their lifespan to 150 to 160 years. He said that this spontaneous increase would result from advances in medicine, lifestyle, or perhaps even some kind of spiritual evolution. Whatever the reason, humans will discover the secret of longevity and be able to live to a very old age. Do you think this is possible? Well, if you doubt it, know that many researchers are already seeking the elixir of immortality. Billionaires like Jeff Bezos are funding research worldwide to create a substance that would rejuvenate cells and prolong life. So, we can say that Nostradamus's prediction about human longevity is not really far from coming true. Fourth prediction: radiation that will devastate the Earth. Still on the list of imminent misfortunes awaiting the world, the next one is contained in a verse where Nostradamus seems to have seen a future where the Earth would be devastated by a force similar to radiation. In the verse, he wrote, "Like the sun, the head will burn, the sea shining, the living fish of the Black Sea will almost boil." As you might expect, the verse has been translated as the advent of global warming, an event not so natural that is destined to leave the Earth unrecognizable due to intense burning. Discussions about global warming have long been a topic on shows, news media, and various other media. The goal has always been to alert people to the repercussions of excessive carbon emissions and make them aware of how greenhouse gases envelop the atmosphere, leading to an increase in Earth's temperature. Thanks to this awareness, we can say that many people have turned to cleaner energy sources. However, the numbers are still not sufficient. With insufficient options to choose from, we must expect severe and extensive consequences from the arrival of global warming. Rising temperatures will not only cause the polar ice caps to melt, but also make several weather events more intense. This will lead to sea level rise, which could cause flooding and wildfires capable of decimating an entire ecosystem of wildlife, wiping out all our crops and farms, and eventually leading to years of intense famine and drought. In summary, we are destined to see a global catastrophe that will result in months, even years of chaos. Thus, with the imminent misfortune that is global warming, it is another call to awareness for each of us to contribute to restoring the planet's atmosphere to what it was centuries ago. How can we achieve this? Well, for starters, try as much as possible to reduce the carbon footprint on Earth by using a greener energy source instead of burning organic fuels. With all these prudent actions taken, let's hope that the effects of global warming will not be as severe as predicted by Nostradamus or any climatologist. Third prediction: Trump becomes president again. With the U.S. presidential elections approaching, it turns out that Nostradamus had a lot to say about it. Apparently, back in the day, he wrote about a controversial figure in modern politics who would once again ascend to the presidency. Although Donald Trump is never explicitly named in Nostradamus's texts, those who decipher the prophecies argue that he fits the profile described perfectly. The anticipation unfolds, suggesting not only a return to the presidential seat for Trump, but also a resurgence of his influence among political giants, guiding the United States into a perceived era of greatness. However, this prophecy comes with a warning. Also in the text, Nostradamus warns of the president's downfall. He said that arrogance and the wave of corruption surrounding the president would be what causes his fall. Eventually, he would become so drunk with power that he might refuse to listen to the advice of his supporters, and his nonchalant attitude would be what plunges the United States back into a dark era. Can we say that this prediction is a moral tale urging the preservation of democratic values? Or can we say it's Nostradamus's way of warning Trump about what is to come? Well, we can never be sure. It can be said that Trump did quite well as a president during his previous term. Yes, he made very bad decisions, but he also made wonderful ones to change some degraded constitutional laws. So, it is a situation where there is both good and bad. Nonetheless, we must be cautious before drawing definitive conclusions about this prophecy. In a previous prediction, Nostradamus hinted that Barack Obama would be the last president of America, which was impossible. However, no one knows if he was referring to Obama as the last Black American president or something else. And now, here we are with another interpretation describing Trump's resurgence. Either way, one thing is certain. We will be able to judge the accuracy of the interpretations in the coming months. ***. Second prediction: a new pope. You are probably wondering why the church always finds itself at the center of several controversial theories and global discussions. Well, know that the influence of the Roman Catholic Church extends beyond the spiritual realm. It not only has a say in political, social, and ethical conversations, but it is also consulted from time to time during the reform of certain legislations. The papacy serves not only as a symbol of spiritual authority, but also as an influential voice on subjects ranging from environmental management to human rights. It is therefore not surprising that the well-being of the church finds its place in one of Nostradamus's predictions. In fact, you would be surprised to learn that Nostradamus considered himself a devout Catholic. The only problem is that the church viewed him as someone practicing many unorthodox things in disagreement with the church's views. Because of this and several other factors, the Vatican condemned the Book of Prophecies immediately after his death. In his book, Nostradamus wrote a prophecy concerning the church. He said that by the death of a very old pontiff, an elderly Roman would be elected. It will be said of him that he weakens his sight, but he will sit for a long time and be active.